I'm Melissa. Welcome to the Blue Wagon Stitcher. First of all, a big thank you. Thank you so much for your kind comments and response to my first two videos. I've just been blown away at the kindness and the comments. It's just been amazing. I have tried to respond to or like and read every one. I think I've read through Fridays. So if you have commented since Friday, I will get to you. But a deep, heartfelt thank you so much for your kindness and the time you've taken to make a comment and to express your thoughts, your gratitude, your ideas. It's been just so lovely. So thank you so much. It has actually been 2 weeks, even though I'm posting this a week after number 2. This is FlossTube number 3. I recorded 1 and 2 at the same time, so it's been 2 weeks since I recorded. So just to share a little bit about what's happened with me in the last 2 weeks, I had the opportunity to travel to New Orleans for work, and while there we had a little bit of fun, of course. I was able to be there with 2 colleagues, and it was just so much fun. So I teach pre-service teachers for my day job, and we went to learn more about literacy practices and how to teach our teachers better. And we had some fun adventures. My colleagues each also are handcrafters. One is a fabulous knitter and one does crochet. And so it's fun for us to travel together and work on our arts together and visit some shops together. So we went down to the French Quarter and visited the Quarter Stitch shop. And that was a fun little adventure if you're ever in New Orleans. A great little quaint shop, small business owned, and the owners were lovely to just chat with us briefly. We got in just before they were closing, so we didn't get to spend a ton of time, but I did get to look through. They have a great collection of French Quarter or New Orleans specific cross-stitching patterns, and so if you're there and that's is of interest to you. I ended up not purchasing any, mostly because I just hadn't visited many of the places that were listed there, some plantations and some eateries, and those things just weren't sentimental or of meaning to me at that time. But they also have a lot of yarn. My coworker was able to pick up a few things for her knitting, and just a fun little shop to visit. So I would encourage you to visit the Quarter Stitch shop in New Orleans in the French Quarter. What else has been going on? I wrote a few notes down here so that I would remember them. Let's see. My son's birthday was this week. We celebrated. We usually celebrate our family birthdays on the weekends. Our weeks are just so busy. So our tradition is to get them a bouquet of balloons and a candy or a treat that they enjoy, that they wake up to on their birthday. And then usually the weekend before or the weekend after, we do a family activity and a family dinner. So he turned 9. He's my youngest, and with my family went ice skating last night. That was the activity he wanted to do, and then today they request their favorite dinner for our family dinner, and he has requested spaghetti and strawberries. And then we don't do the traditional birthday cake again. Just whatever their favorite dessert is, and so he's requested donuts. So that will be our Sunday dinner to celebrate his birthday tonight: spaghetti, strawberries, and donuts. So that will be fun. It's kind of sad to see your baby grow up. My oldest, it will be 21 here in April, and then I have a senior in high school who's 18, and then an 8th grader, he's 14. So I've got my 2 girls first, my 2 boys next, and our baby just turned 9. So I had a little bit of sadness happen this week. I lost a colleague, passed away last week, and that's been really rough. But he taught our social studies courses at our university, and was known for dressing up on some special days during his course. And so I'll show you in my hauls that I picked up a cross stitch to do as in a memory of him. And then I took the dogs to get groomed Friday. Okay, that shouldn't be an adventure in and of itself. Just taking the dogs to get groomed, that should be fine. We have 2 dogs, and I will probably show them in my next video. I think I just had too much in this video to plan to show them to you today, but I have a little dog and a big dog. Not big, I mean he's a medium dog, but they still need to work on their manners, and so I got them. Our veterinarian has a grooming service, and so I pulled up, opened the door, and they just are ready to bolt out. So I reached out my hand to stop. The bigger one has much better manners than the little one. So I was stopping the little one from bolting out, and I jammed the back of my hand. You can see how purple my finger is. I didn't think it would show up. It shows up pretty good there in the video. But yeah, I jammed my pinky finger in the side of my hand in the doorway of my car, and I scraped up my knuckle, and it is turned purple. So not broken. I can bend it fine and everything. It's just tender and swollen and bruised. So that's been my adventure the last couple of days, but all is well. Everything's fine, doing okay. So that's a little bit of my update. Let's start out with some finishes. I mentioned in my last one some bags that I got, and a lot of you said, hey, show us those bags when you finish them. So I have not finished all of them, but I did. I showed you this pattern in my purchases last week. So here's a prototype. I'm not super thrilled, but you know, your first one's never perfect, but it is a really cute bag. So it's got a zipper on the front that opens with a vinyl front, so you can put your thread, your scissors, all of your notions right in there and keep it nice and handy and separate. And then you can put whatever, I mean, you can use it however you want, right? But and then this nice big pocket inside. Super cute, very useful bag. So now that I've made one, I think the rest will only get better. So I'm planning to make a few more of those. And then I also showed you the Lori Holt No. 3 zippy bags. She's done one for the past 3 years. I think 2022 was her first one, then she did one 23, and this one was released at the end of 24. So this is her No. 3 zippy bags, and here's the bag that I finished. So it's sold in a panel. This is decorator weight fabric, so it's a nice heavier weight than just your average quilting fabrics. And I stitched this one up. So there are 8 of them, so I have 7 more to stitch. They do 4 of this size large bags and then 4 smaller bags. And then she has her happy zippers, which are 8 zippers that coordinate with the bags. So I watched Lori's tutorial on how to do this, and she kept raving about the double zippers. And I was like, oh, I mean, double zippers, I'm sure they're great, but are they really like that fabulous? And yes. Sewing with a double zipper was amazing. It made things so much easier. So I just did a plain white. I had a lot of white fabric that I'd gotten in the past planning to do quilts and quilt backings that I've just never done, and honestly have no idea which quilts or which patterns those backings go to anymore, so I just pulled that to use for my lining. But super cute, very nice. I love the weight of the fabric. Oh, there's the back. So, and then she includes this cute little tag to add on there. So super fun to add to my project bag stash. All right, so that's all finishes. I didn't have any finishes for cross stitching, but I spent some of my cross stitch time making some bags. So my works in progress that I've worked on the last couple of weeks, I posted about this on my Instagram. This is, let's see if it will focus. Maybe. I've got it on. Oh, there we go. So this is the Fox and Rabbit sew or stitch along, sew along. There we go. And the blue was the January section, and then this outer border was February, so I finished the February section. Very lovely. You can join that anytime. It is in the Fox and Rabbit Stitch Along Facebook group, and I will link down in the description the direct link to their website where you can get the patterns, and they're free all year. So as long as you grab the pattern before the end of 2025, you can have the pattern, and each month a part is added. So the theme is Cloister Garden, and we don't know what it will look like. Every month and every section that we add is a mystery. My next WIP is the Be My Valentine from, oh, the setting I have of my camera is making it a little, there we go. So I've got the little bee house, the cute little bee up in the corner, and then the Valentine writing all started. That's the end. So I'm just starting that N right there. This was the freebie from Primrose Cottage, and they do a freebie each month in their newsletter. So make sure you are subscribed to their newsletter if you're interested in those. And they are lovely quick stitches. I have mostly kept up and finished each one. I think I can finish this one next week. We'll see how that goes. But I've tried to finish each one in the month that it comes out to stay caught up. At least if it's one that I love and want to stitch, right? And then my last work in progress was my Hometown by Teresa Kogut. And this was a very small edition. I just added these 2 lamps outlines right there. And then I started working on the roof of the next house down below that used that same color that I was using for those lamps. So those are the WIPs I was able to work on over the last little bit. Not a ton. Again, I did the bags and I was traveling. I always take my stitching with me when I travel and think I'm going to do way more than I actually do. But speaking of that as well, I learned a new craft. My colleague was so kind and fantastic. She taught me how to knit. So she was very patient with me. And my first trial is gone. It has been disposed of as I was just learning my stitches right at the beginning. But on the way home, she looked at me and she said, you're doing much better now. Why don't you start over with something that will be easier for you to stitch and that you'll want to stitch. So we did. And she just had brought this brown yarn that she just had. She said, get yourself some needles before we start the trip and I'll bring the yarn and I'll teach you. So here is my little start. She just taught me how to knit and purl. So I've got a lovely little stitch here that has just started for my practice. Not too shabby for a beginner, I think. So I just have this little piece. And the key is to keep up on it so I don't forget how to do the stitches. But that was a fun thing to learn. If you are a knitter and you have suggestions, ideas, the next thing is a simple pattern that I can do so that I'm actually stitching something useful at the end of the day. So if you have any tips and tricks about knitting, let me know. Okay, I'm using a ring light today and I can see that I'm trying to keep my head down, so I'm sorry about that glare. We're still figuring out all the videography and the background and all of those fun things that we learned through the process. So, okay, let's see. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to share with you, excuse me, many of you asked about the background in my first 2 videos. I had my quilted flag behind me. And I will post a picture of it right here as I'm chatting with you so that you can see that flag. I did that many years ago and it has hung in my classroom when I was teaching 5th grade. I taught all about American history for my 5th graders and it was a lovely addition to my classroom. And now it hangs here in my craft room. And it was a tutorial from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, again, many years ago, but I have located the tutorial video from Missouri Star and I will post that down below for your reference. So if you would also like to do that quilt, you sure can. It is a lovely quick stitch put together with their tumblers and their templates. I love Missouri Star for their use of templates and quick stitching for quilting. And I also quilted that quilt myself. I think it is, I don't know if it was the first, but it's probably the only fully finished quilt that I quilted myself. So I just did some freehand quilting on my machine with that quilt and I'm pretty proud of it. So I enjoy having it on display. I've quilted a few other things like, table runners or placemats, things like that. But that's my first display piece that I really quilted. And unfortunately or fortunately, my quilting got put away for a long time. We moved here to Idaho about 5.5 years ago, and I only took out my sewing and was able to set up this craft room in the last 4 months when my daughter got married and moved out, I took over her room as the craft room. So I have not quilted in probably 6-ish or more years, really truly quilted. So I'm looking forward, now that I have a room, to be able to do more of that. Okay, let's look at let's talk about a couple of people that I watched this week. I was so grateful to just keep stitching. Steph and Pam were so gracious in shouting me out last Sunday, and they were so kind. My heart was full at the kind words they said about me and the Blue Wagon Stitcher. So thank you so much to Pam and Steph. I have watched them really since watching FlossTubes, and it just meant so much that they noticed and shouted me out as one of their silver FlossTubes of the week. A couple others I just want to give back as well, as others have given to me to shout me out, and I'll shout out 3 to 5 YouTube channels that I've watched during the week. I watch many more. I often watch in the evenings when I'm stitching or doing dishes or hanging out. I turn on FlossTube instead of audiobooks or other things. I also love watching Sweetwater Stitcher. The Sable Stitchers had a great one this week. They're just, again, so kind and humble, and I love seeing the samplers that they stitch. Adelaide Stitches I've watched once or twice before, but she came up this week in my homepage, and I watched her as well. She had some great advice and showing how she was organizing her floss and her supplies this week, so she would be a great one to watch this week if you're looking for that. And the Proper Stitcher I watched this morning, and she shared all of her Nashville pattern releases, and they are beautiful. Just lovely. So go watch the Proper Stitcher and look at her releases for this week as well. All right, so I asked you this last week to share your ideas for haul. The word didn't sound right to me, and you all came out with so many fantastic ideas. Thank you so much. I replied or liked to many of your comments, and I jotted down, several of them that stood out to me right off the bat. I heard stash enhancements, investments, inspirations, finds, and those all made my top, 5 or 6 list. And then I narrowed it down to 3. Future Fun came from the Stitching Owl. Thank you so much for that recommendation. And Cheryl Kirk 1348 recommended Harvest, which really resonated with me because I am a gardener. But at the end of the day, that idea just didn't quite stick because I kept thinking, sorry, I forgot my microphone. I kept thinking about my food harvest, and the idea of gathering things in with the harvest was a great idea, and I loved it at first, but the more I thought about it, it wasn't quite the right one. So I settled on cart hoppers, which was recommended by Shauna T. 1978. Thank you so much. I wanted to give credit where credit is due. So cart hoppers it is. And I think Shauna, I'm assuming your name is Shauna because it's in your handle, but she mentioned that I had mentioned it in a video, and I don't remember that, and I didn't take the time to go back and watch my video, but it sounds like something that I would say. So let's talk about my cart hoppers. I had not talked yet about some of the Patreon exclusives that I received for February, and so I'm going to put those patterns right here as I talk about them. We have Ackworth Manor by Fox and Rabbit, which is a Patreon exclusive for February. And also they did Pretty in Pink, a beautiful Valentine pattern that I just love. I got all of the flosses and everything for it, but I really want to do it on a dark fabric, and I don't have a dark fabric in my stash, so I need to get a dark fabric. And I just really love that heart one. I love the Manor as well. I think I will probably stitch that one too. And then they also shipped out their fabric for those that had been in their Patreon for their January. I think it's 3 or 4 times I think it's 4 times for each quarter. And these are just beautiful. I'm so excited about these. So here's this first one. Again, we'll see if we can get the focus. There we go. So there is the January Patreon from Fox and Rabbit. It's called Barely There, and I selected the 40 count. I'm gonna have to stitch on that 40 count because I keep getting 40 count. So my next new starts are going to for sure be on 40 count. And then this beautiful pink, it's called Faded Valentine. A beautiful, true pink. Really almost a bubblegum pink. I think it looks a little bit lighter there with the light on it than it is true to life. It is a little bit deeper than that. More of a true bubblegum pink. So some beautiful colors there, both in 40 count linen. And then let's see, a couple of other patterns from Patreon's House of Hope from Teresa Kogut, and Divine Abode by Teresa Kogut, and Virtue by Teresa Kogut. So I'm in her highest tier, tier 4, which there's a, I think it's tier 4. Yeah, because I think patterns come in tiers 2, 3, and 4. And so I receive 3 patterns each month from Teresa. Oh, I also wanted to mention that Fox and Rabbit had a couple of other additional freebies that they added. They're doing an ornament a month that they've added. However, they're just sending this chart, so I'm not able to show it without giving it all away. But some beautiful just motif ornaments that they are doing each month this year. Okay, and then I ordered from Primrose Cottage. Sorry, I'm just reaching down here to grab them. I should put them on a table in front of me so you're not seeing the top of my head. But so I got the Be Mine finishing kit. So as soon as that pattern is done, that I showed you earlier in my whips, I have their finishing kit here all ready to make it into a pillow. I love Lindsay and her team and her sisters put together finish to finish however they finish it for their sample. And so it's a lovely little pocket pillow that we're going to finish that into. And then I also fell into the Sheep Virtues trend, I guess. Let me see if I can get my head out of the way so you can see those. There we go. So this one is Love. Okay, there you go. So that one is number 2, which is Love. And then we have number 6, which is Simplicity. And I just picked out the ones that spoke to me at the moment. I plan to do all of them, but I just wanted to pick out the ones that were more springish so that I would stitch them now. And then Friendship, which is number 9. Okay, so I got those 3 patterns as well from Primrose. Okay, I think that's all the things. Oh, okay, and then I was going to talk about, I will put a picture right here. I also ordered from 123 Stitch Peace, Love, and Purpose by Plum Street Samplers. I was hoping it would be here by today and it wasn't, but I thought I'd mention it anyway. This is the pattern that I'm going to stitch in honor of my colleague that passed away last week. Again, it has that patriotic theme to it, and especially I loved the words underneath. I was looking for something patriotic and something that had some meaning behind it that would discuss something about, you know, peace and calmness, and this just ended up being the perfect thing. Peace, love, and purpose. So that will be my next start, I think, as soon as it comes in. Okay, and then to wrap up today, I wanted to share some free patterns. I've spoken before about how sometimes I've been in a spot where I see folks share about their hauls, their cart hoppers, the things that they're gathering and the things they're doing, the things they're hoarding. And I thought, man, I've got to use my money other places. I don't have thousands of dollars to have a hoard of, and I'm so grateful that those who are able to do that can do that. But also I wanted to have a little section in my FlossTubes where I can share some more of the budget-friendly types of supplies and patterns that you can use. So I have found 4 patterns to share with you today. They're all free patterns and they are all linked down in the description below, and you'll see pictures of them here as I talk about each one. The first is a St. Patrick's Day gnome. If you're a gnome person and you like St. Patrick's Day, this is a fun little stitch to give you, add to your dough bowl, set out on your display somewhere. It would be a quick stitch and add a little bit of whim and whimsy to your St. Patrick's Day. The next one is the Fat Quarter Shop Lucky Shamrock. It is a shamrock shape with some fun colors and designs in it. Available free at Fat Quarter Shop, again linked below. Whilst Iris Naps had just a beautiful springtime themed freebie, and I think it's just called Spring Freebies. So just linked there, again look down below. And then the last one I have here to share is Tiny Modernist freebie, which is Live in Full Bloom. Again, another springtime themed floral, just a fun pattern, and all of those are totally free. So you can go to Hobby Lobby, get some good Zweigart linen and some DMC, and have some good me time doing some stitches. All right, the last section that I want to share with you today, which is what this video is all titled and its purpose today in coming to you, are the Nashville Needlework Market finds. The patterns that I have been looking at and eyeing, and I'm going to share with you the 10 items that I have purchased to this point. So I'm going to talk just quickly about them, and we are going to end the video with a little picture reel, if you will, which has the name and picture of each of those patterns. A lot of bee patterns this year, which I am thrilled about. I've mentioned previously that I am a beekeeper, that I do have bees in my backyard garden, and so several of these just beautiful bee themed stitches just really sang out to me. Bumblebee Etchings by Hand and Heart, Honeybee Sampler by Pansy Patch, and The Voice in the Garden by Samplers and Primitives are just some beautiful, exquisite bee patterns, more formal bee patterns that I just really resonated with. I purchased the Twilight Moon by Tiny Modernist as part of, I think it's, I'm going to get it wrong. It's X Stitch the Rainbow, I think, and it's a collaboration where they're all using the same 4 colors for several pattern makers to create patterns. So I purchased that one, Twilight Moon. Probably like many of you, the Nativity Tiny Town caught me by Hand and Heart, and I also got the Nativity Frill. Patriot's In by Annie B's Folk Art, A Gathering of Acorns by Fox and Rabbit, and A Time to Sew by Teresa Kogut. So those are the 9 patterns I purchased. And then my 10th item was the Market Cookbook. There are over 50 small stitch patterns in that book. Just an incredible deal for just the patterns alone, but then to be able to share recipes is a lot of fun as well. So I will share more of those as they come in and as I start them, of course. And if I add more to my cart in the next couple of weeks before market, I will share that with you as well. All right, folks, enjoy this last couple of minutes here at the end of the video, which will be, like I said, a reel of all of those market finds so you can see those pictures and the titles with them. And have a wonderful next couple of weeks. I anticipate my next video really will be in about 2 weeks. So happy stitching. See you later.